name is Alex, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the power takeoffs, or PTOs as they're commonly referred to. To start out, their uses. PTOs are used in almost every facet of the world, including transportation, both land and air and sea. Farm uses for harvesting, baling, you name it, all the way down to cutting the grass. Also have industrial applications. Today I'm going to go over that with you a little bit. The history, the need for a PTO and pursuing developing one started as early as the late 19th century, notably 1878. Some experimental models started showing up, mostly backyard uses. The first production one was in 1918 by International Harvest Company. They used a Frenchman's design that the engineer at IHC had liked about a decade earlier. They put it on their M816 model. It was the first model available with a PTO and had an assortment of attachments to utilize that power. And they weren't in the market by themselves for long. Case quickly caught up with them by the next year. However, by 1920, at the Nebraska tractor test, IHC was the first company to bring in a tractor that had a PTO on it, and it gave them a competitive edge that year. The first live PTO was in 1945. It was by Cockshut on their M30 tractor, and it had their first live PTO, so your tractor did not have to be moving in order to utilize it. That was the common way to power your PTO back then, was to take it off the wheel that was spinning on the towed vehicle. And then they figured going into the transmission, then it depends on where you hook up into the transmission, whether or not you have to be in gear or if you can be in neutral, depending on where you hook up in the transmission. There are a lot of safety concerns concerning PTOs because it is engine-driven power. If the engine's running, it's moving. And so there are a lot of safety concerns, specifically with the rotating parts. You've got shafts, U-joints, get loose clothing or something sucked into it, the motor don't care, it's going to suck you in with it. So try to stem some of those. They've created some coverings that free float over them. So if you do get tied up in it, the covering will stop while the PTO continues to spin with inside it. Just to name an example of a way to curb those incidents. Other than that, safety awareness. You need to be aware of moving parts. You got to be careful. Lastly, I wanted to show you a couple. I've got two here. One is complete in its case. There's a couple of different models here. You've got a collar here. This is what allows you to attach to your device. In this case, it was a pump. This is your shaft. This is driven by these gears. If you can see inside here, this gear would be driven by the transmission. Power transfers over to this gear, and in there you can see this larger gear. This is what's directly connected to your shaft power. So as this turns when it's engaged. Now, to be engaged, it has a sliding fork in here, which is what this plate is, that slides over. This is air operated, which most of them are. They can also be hydraulically operated, permanent. Here I have one disassembled. This is a PTO housing. This is that collar I was telling you about with its bearings. You got a bearing on the front side and you got a bearing on the back side. And that bearing rides on this shaft. This is your output shaft, which you would hook your accessory to, connecting to your device. Then this would be the gear that drives this shaft. As you can see, it's splined for it. And this gear would be your gear set that runs aided with your transmission. This interlocks with the teeth on this. And then you've got a couple of bearings and some seals in here as well. So that's the basic overview. Thank you for watching.